Welcome to Managing Supplier Constraints, sponsored by EC Vision, experts in collaboration and visibility.
Retail brand merchants, buyers, and sourcing managers must have visibility, control, and ability to make the smart sourcing decisions with the click of a browser. But how can a retailer develop these programs and build sourcing capabilities quickly so that it can compete effectively today while building the governance and infrastructure that will be needed for the future? I'm Susan Nichols, publisher of Apparel, and today we talk with Cheryl Lane from EC Vision. Cheryl is an industry expert and VP of Products and Solutions. As a provider of supply chain management software solutions, EC Vision is working with thousands of factories that are critical to the supply chain network of brands in the United States. As we know, offshore sourcing has become the norm in the apparel and footwear industry. The migration first moved from the Northeast United States to the southern states, then to the Caribbean, Mexico, Japan, China, and so on. Supply chain visibility was once something that could be done with the naked eye, but now with the supplier and the accompanying network of providers such as freight forwarders, consolidators, and 3PLs, more distant from the brand owner, complexity has certainly increased. Cheryl, when we talk about supplier relationships, what are private label brands facing today?
Thanks, Susan. When U.S. companies were nearshore outsourcing, things were still okay, because hiccups were often covered up by lower prices that could be achieved offshore. Today, there isn't much room for those lower prices anymore. Consumers expect the lowest price or a discount. So now our customers are really focused on more efficient and faster supply chains because inefficiency in offshoring cannot be covered up simply by pushing suppliers for lower prices.
Well, while this might sound simple, the global reach of most supply chains now stretches the limits of most organizations. And the need for a platform that enhances collaboration and visibility really throughout the entire trading partner community is key to a brand's success. What do you think are some of the overarching steps an organization can take to bridge that 10,000-mile gap, if you will?
Well, Susan, the first step is to rethink the business process and organizational structure, addressing things like which roles should be physically close to the supplier. Do we need all of the approvals? They really are overdoing the approval process in a lot of instances. Next is implementing a strong IT infrastructure, which will aid in this process. Ultimately, managing the supplier relationship is a win-win for all parties. You build trust, you build the relationship, and you become a partnership. So, to survive in today's marketplace, retailers are under pressure to be better, faster, and cheaper than their competitors. To achieve these goals, retailers need to implement an automated, flexible, and streamlined system that brings together historically disparate processes. So you've got information sitting in an ERP system, you've got information sitting in a PDM system, and none of those systems are actually reading together and giving you the data that you need. And you need to be able to put more attention focusing on the managing of the product and the supplier. So material and capacity management models, there are 4 models, as you can see here: full control, partnership, outsourced, and the honor system. Each one has its own unique risks involved with them. Which one do you fit into? Do you have your own factories and mills? Do you manage all your capacity in production? If so, you are in great shape because you have full control. Partnerships, you're dealing with factories and mills directly and you have some control on what goes on. If it's outsourced, you really are taking your agent's word for it. And if you're on the honor system, then you're buying finished goods off the rack and you really are, depending upon the vendor to do all of that outsourcing for you. How can collaboration help? Aberdeen report in 2009 really keys in on collaboration. In moving towards a more balanced demand-supply process, companies need to increase the extent of collaboration on both the demand and supply side of their business networks. Collaboration is a big buzzword, but it's way more important than that. It is the future of a more efficient supply chain. Are you able to determine the exact amount of material that you use in a season by supplier? Can you provide visibility into what everyone in your organization is ordering from your suppliers? Report on which factories produce which types of goods and what their production capacity is? Where to start if you have to chase an item or have a delivery issue? These are all things that are key to you maintaining the risks in supplier collaboration. Supplier risks. If any of your shipments were taken over by Somali pirates, would you be able to react? True story. Retailer was making cuffs in one location and having that assembled with the body and the collars in another location. So the cuffs were in a container on a ship that was overtaken by the Somali pirates. So the assembly factory, they were in a panic. Oh my gosh, I can't hit my in-store date because I don't have the cuffs. So they contact the retailer and say, what can I do? I need to get more cuffs. So if you were that retailer, what would you be able to do? Would you be able to research and be able to find out where you have capacity to make those cuffs? Would you be able to find a factory that's closer to the assembly factory so that you would be able to get there quicker? Would you be able to know every style that those cuffs were actually used on so that you would be able to evaluate what that in-store date is and be able to maybe shift some production around? So being able to make those decisions and have that information, as you can see, has a ripple effect through the entire product and retail life cycle. So solution, managing supplier constraints. There are 3 steps to managing supplier constraints. The first is you need to prepare, then you need to plan, and then you need to execute. Each one of these is very important to the entire process. In preparing, do you have all of your data? Do you have your vendor and factory information, the products, the materials, and then the linkage between your products and materials to be able to pull all of that information together? So the first step is just preparing the data. Then the next is to plan. You have your sales forecasts, you have your capacity for your production, you have factory capacity and order linkage and product and material linkage. So then you have to be able to execute. Internal plus vendor plus factory collaboration is huge. You have to evaluate your results and you have to plan your futures based on past history. These are all very large, important items into the entire process. Putting it all in one box. So the look of the future is to be able to have all of your data in one place to enable you to find the information that you need when you need it. Today, like I previously said, everything's sitting in a disparate system. You've got purchase order information in one place. You've got your material database in another system. You've got your factory database in another system. How do you pull all of that together? You don't have to replace all of your current systems. You just need to be able to integrate all of the different systems into one for visibility and collaboration. So put all of that data in one box and be able to data mine it and be able to get all of that information out when you need it and how it all correlates together, and to be able to make decisions in a quicker and faster environment to give you the flexibility of speed to market and to be able to have a better relationship with your suppliers. So employing the technology behind that. Here are some ways that the technology is going to be able to help you in this process. You have the linkage between your finished goods and the material needed to produce the product. So when something gets hijacked on the oceans, you're able to know exactly what styles, what products will be affected by that issue that just happened. Then you need to be able to ensure that you can see what orders you have placed by vendor, style, and fabric, ensuring the economy of scale when consolidating purchasing information across divisions. Ensure that everyone has visibility into the information and that no one in your organization is going rogue. That means basically that no one's issuing purchase orders that aren't supposed to be issued. No one is making decisions without actually having the facts in front of them. Better decision making based on accurate production information via collaboration with your suppliers and visibility into usage. Where are they in the process? Have they already cut the fabric? Is it already shipped? Is it on a boat? You need to be able to know what status you're in during the production of a good so that you can then work with your vendors if changes need to be made. So, I need to make this a short sleeved instead of a long sleeve shirt. How do I do that? If the goods haven't been cut yet, easy decision to make and you can make that decision quickly. But if it's already been cut, then you're going to get into other situations where collaboration with that vendor is key. And then ensuring that you can view the history by different attributes so that you can plan for next year. So let's say you want to see all of your cardigans from 2009. You need to be able to pull up a report or pull up some kind of a view that pulls that information in together, that you can see with an image what those cardigans were, how many purchase orders were issued against them, what that total quantity was, what yarns that they were used. And so this will let you plan better for next year. It also gives you a very good negotiating strategy. If you pull the information by vendor or factory, you're able to have KPIs to be able to actually go back to your vendors and factories for negotiation for next year. It gives everyone the same view so that the vendors and the factories are seeing exactly what you see, so that there's none of this he said, she said going on between that relationship. It is a joined, solid relationship where you can manage those constraints from your vendor and be able to have a good relationship with them moving forward.
Thanks very much, Cheryl. We really appreciate your insights and your excellent advice. And thank you for listening. If you have any further questions or would like further information, please visit www.ecvision.com.